Hello, this is Brian. Today is Sunday, March 7th, 2021, in the Angeles National Forest. You're going to hear a lot of people laughing. There are a bunch of people over there by the exit of, well, I'm at the Buckhorn Campground area. Well, we all know, anybody who's seen the news in the last few months knows about the huge fire that came through called the Bobcat Fire. Well, I'm in the burn zone area. I'm surprised that Angeles Crest Highway is open. I keep seeing signs saying it's closed by where I parked, by the John Henge trailhead, by Camp Glenwood Road. Well, here I am. It's very bittersweet because there are a lot of trees that survived. I'm not surprised that there were trees that survived. And you can see here, some of these trees were partially burnt. So it's pretty rough over here. Buckhorn's one of my favorite places. It's one of my favorite places to go visiting. Of course, over here by Crocker Ridge, I saw Crocker Ridge on the way in, and it was incinerated. It looked like just about everything on Crocker Ridge was incinerated. That's going up towards Peak 7160. Over there, most of that's incinerated. So I don't know how many people have witnessed the aftermath of this fire, but I'll tell you, it's very disheartening in areas. It's very hard to come over here. It's very hard for me to be over here because it's very, very bittersweet. So I do see quite a few trees down in the canyon that survived, but then some of the really large trees burnt. You can see over here, we still have quite a few of the very large trees. Some of the largest trees here in Southern California grow in this area. You can see that goes up towards Peak 7190 right there, and it's hit and miss. I see a lot of green and a lot of brown. And that's how it is over here. You can see a lot of these trees probably had some low level burning, and then the upper levels seem to survive. But on some of the canyon walls over here, it looks pretty rugged. I'm not actually going to hike into it because I'm pretty sure it's closed for forest order, but I do want to give people who are curious about this, as I've been very curious about how this area fared, and honestly, it's hard to look at, and it's hard to look at, especially being a lover of large coniferous trees like I am. But part of me also has a little sense of relief that some of the really large trees did survive, but it's still heart-wrenching to see the ones that perished. I was just surprised it was open all the way here. But it looks like maybe some of these north-facing slopes might have, with a higher moisture content in the trees, maybe dampened it a little. But I mean, these resinous conifers are also very prone to burning. You see here, you see the lower portion of the crowns got singed, and then the upper branches mostly survived. You see some trees, like this Jeffrey pine here, it still has some green needles on it. It's a lot of brown, a lot of green still too. So the intensity over here isn't as bad, but if you look over towards that way, I can see it's really, really, really bad. It's completely charred landscape over there towards Peak 7160, which is over that direction there. I can see through these trees here that there's a lot of complete devastation over there. So, like I said, I'm very surprised that a lot of Angeles Crest has been open. I was assuming it was going to be closed for a very long time due to the insanity over here. And I don't know if you remember a video I did back in August, right before this all happened. I did a video over near Buckhorn Spring, and in that video I show you some of the giant sequoia trees. Well, they survived. Some of the I think most of those giant sequoias survived. I mean, it looks like there was some burning at the lower portions of their crown, maybe by the trunk and the lowest branches, because a lot of those trees are branched down to the ground right now. But there's some areas that it looks like the fire was lower in intensity, and in some areas where it was a complete massacre. So part of me is relieved, and part of me is really sad. So it's kind of a mixed emotion coming back here. You see my videos, you know I talk a lot about coniferous trees, pines, firs, cedars, all that stuff. And I hold these trees with a very high regard. But yeah, you can see this one large incense cedar here. The left half of it burnt a little bit. The right half of it is almost completely intact. So that tree, for the most part, survived the Holocaust. And a lot of these white firs survived. Some very nice white firs down there. Because this part right here, I don't think there are any camping sites here. It's a little bit more in this way, because right there is where you exit the Buckhorn, because it's a one-way road coming in and a one-way road going out. And the white alder trees, the beautiful white alder trees in here have done pretty well, it looks like. Because I see their new catkins, usually they start blooming in late winter, and we're in late winter. So I'm not going to do any real hiking over here because I'm staying out of the burn zone. They don't want you hiking in it. But I'm surprised it's just open all the way here. So there's definitely going to be a danger probably staying, because some of these trees did burn, and that will create a fall hazard in the campground. So I imagine this campground is going to be closed for a while. But I am very happy that it's not a complete and utter 100% devastation. Southern California has been losing so much of its conifer forest due to the overabundance of fire frequency. You can see a lot of ash. You can see a lot of ash on the ground here. So this is definitely partial relief and still partial sadness. Looking up towards the Waterman, this is going over towards, see, that's peak 7190, and that's the ridge leading west towards Waterman Mountain itself. Yeah, I passed by area, got some views of Waterman along the way, up Angeles Crest. Saw some areas that were pretty well clothed, still clothed in trees, and areas that were clothed in blackened snags. So it's not, over here, it's not a complete wipeout. So just be thankful for that. Still got to mourn the trees that we did lose. So I know we had some very beautiful ponderosa and Jeffrey pines here that look like they did burn. But yeah, if you look up towards the ridge, actually up on the ridge there, actually I see a lot more completely burned trees up there. A lot more of those trees were completely incinerated. Not all the trees, but a much higher proportion of them on the ridge line. So I imagine the south-facing slope looks like a nuclear warhead went off. Because I notice a lot of times the south-facing slopes, which are drier and have more flammable plants, because their moisture content's lower than on these north-facing slopes, probably really probably got a complete burn down. Like I said, That's roughly a relatively south-facing slope of Peak 7160, and it looks like a complete burn job. Over there, it's more sporadic. So, yeah, it's kind of bittersweet. I really want to check this area out to see how it fared, and I'm just glad that there are a significant amount of surviving trees. It looks like, honestly, more survivors than casualties, and to me that's good, because we've lost enough of our forest. I'm sure this fire season, because of the extreme drought conditions that we're facing now, is going to play heavily into fire season this year. I mean, we had fires in January because of the Santa Ana winds. That's pretty bad. You get fires in January. That's usually going towards peak rainy up here, peak snowy season. So what I will do, I'm going to see if those people are gone. I'm going to go over by the exit road. Just try to peek in just a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to be hiking in there for the sake of my own safety and for respect. My old incense cedar buddy right here survived. Yeah, my old incense cedar buddy here survived. Giant sequoias. It seems like people are being pretty loud and obnoxious over there. Yeah, there's the exit road right there. But yeah, right by where the Buckhorn Spring area is. Yeah, see, Buckhorn's closed. You can see the campground's closed. So you wouldn't even be able to walk in there. Let's go check out the Buckhorn Spring area. I'm not going to go super far in either, because I'm trying to be careful. Just want to poke around and see. I wonder if that big white fir survived. I'm curious. There's a huge white fir along here too. But yeah, kind of see the fire did cut through here, even by the spring. It did kind of cut through and burn some of the lower branches of the giant sequoias planted over here, but by all, they survived. Hey, huge white fir survived. Yes! Alright, I might have to do a little post holing over here. It used to be all gooseberries and currants over here. But yeah, giant sequoias, they survived. So, I think you can see a lot of blackened dirt. You can see some of the lower branches of these incense cedars and these sequoias did burn. But, yeah, these trees survived. I gotta say, it smells incredibly nice over here. I'm grateful for that. So my white fir friend survived, and these beautiful white alders look like they didn't even get touched. And there's some large white alders around here. I'm very impressed. Very relieved, actually. See that these trees survived. You can see all their male catkins. These are what will pollinate the females that turn into little cones. Oop, post holed a little bit there. Snow's kind of deep over here. But, gotta say, definitely a sense of relief that a lot of these awesome trees didn't succumb to the fire. Gotta say, I'm relieved about that. Especially that huge white fir didn't even get touched. I'm very thankful for that. Like I said, if you saw my videos back in August. Probably saw how lush the area was. Well, still retains some of its lushness, thank God. That huge white fir, very relieved. Now, I know I've been talking about calling these Rocky Mountain white firs, Abies concolor, variety concolor, because I'm using Michael Kaufman's Michael Kaufman's book, Conifers of the Pacific Slope, and he terms the ones from the Tehachapi's to Baja as variety concolor, the same one as that grows in the Rocky Mountains, and the ones up in the Sierras are variety Lowiana. However, most of the other sources that divide this tree into varieties say that the ones from the Sierras all the way down to Baja are Lowianas, and the ones in the New York mountains, there are a couple of white fir stands in the Mojave National Preserve. They're saying that, well, those are the Rocky Mountain white firs. So I'm going to probably do a little more research, and then maybe do an update spotlight on trees on this species, because I'm beginning to think that maybe these are Lowianas, the same type that grow in the Sierras. I mean, it kind of makes sense. They grow in that long connection down the Sierras to the Tehachapi's, then the transverse ranges down to northern Baja. And a few of the sources I've read consider this to be variety Lowiana. But that's another video for another time. I'm just so happy that this tree survived. I feel sad for all these other ones, but this huge white fir right here got very lucky. Oh man, I've always admired this tree ever since I first came across it. Well, it didn't get off completely scot-free. Just a little tiny char, a little bit of charring right next to where that boulder is. So there it is, the white fir. I guess until I'm convinced again of what I'm looking at, I'm going to consider this just going to say Abies concolor for now. I am considering changing my position and referring to it as Abies concolor variety Lowiana, which again I said will make a much different spotlight on trees video once I feel more confident. Well, thanks for watching my video on the Buckhorn area. I hope it instills a little bit of hope in you as it is in me that this area is very resilient and will get through this, and that we still have enough conifers here to keep the gene pools going. Thanks for watching. I'll see. I'm going to go check some other areas along Angeles Crest and maybe shoot a couple small videos on those. And I'll see you then.